Good afternoon from yammybtv. Wishing you all well. Sending loads of love to you as usual. Now today is what? FA Cup third round day, right? You know that the cup competitions, especially the FA Cup, back in the day, we're talking 60s, 70s, 80s, probably into the 90s as well, probably up to the millennium when one of the first games played away from Wembley in a cup final was Liverpool versus Arsenal, when Michael Owen scored two late goals. It was probably the last time I felt real excitement about the FA Cup. Do I believe that the value, whatever way we're going to call it, is it being devalued in later life with people putting out second string teams and not giving it their all, and kind of disrespect to the old FA Cup and tradition and everything like that? You know what I mean. But growing up as a boy, some of us my age, some of us a little bit younger, and speaking also on behalf of the youngsters as well, won't remember the feelings, but maybe still get the feelings that we once did get. But I'm believing that it's not the same kind of feeling, meaning that cup shocks, when they used to happen, in the third round especially, because that those are the times when the non-leaguers and the lower division teams battle it out in rounds 1, 2, there's even preliminary rounds. To get to the third round stage for some of these teams is remarkable in itself. But looking through the fixture list today, I was thinking of times gone by and cup shocks of all sizes, and when cup shocks used to happen, it used to be real headlines. These days, cup shocks happen, and I believe it's not the same kind of feeling. If you mean, I'll go over a few recent and past and see what you all think about it. But it had that feeling, the build up, the road to Wembley. We know we get some bits and bobs to how it is now, but it used to go on all week and right up to the day, and the build up was so extraordinary, befitting of a tournament that I believe only Great Britain could have produced, rather than the way other countries did, if you get what I mean. I'm not being biased here, but looking back over the fixtures, I'm coming up with some real crackers. And I talked today about, I'm looking through the fixture list, and I'm talking about, we'll go through the list. Bristol City versus Fulham. Do we remember many cup shocks around those way back in the day? Fulham being, obviously, I think they're not in the Premiership now. They're in the First Division. They had a good little run in recent times and got back to the Premiership, or the old Division 1, if you like. But in the Cup especially, I'm remembering that actually Fulham reached the Cup final 1975, an all-London FA Cup derby where West Ham, I think, beat them 2-0. So we know the FA Cup during those days, and probably even up to today, very difficult for a smaller team to reach an FA Cup final. And I know my side, Leeds United, seems to be one of those things that even back then and even now, when we're not so much a bigger side, though we're back in the Premiership, where massive shocks have happened. And I'm looking through some of our other top teams as well, and recent ones, funny ones as well. So I look at Bristol City Fulham. I come up with Fulham, where they lost 2-0 at West Ham, but they had a lovely run then. So that was but mind you, I think Fulham might have even been a quite decent team then. Who was playing at Fulham in their last days then? I'm not sure if George Best was there towards the end of his career. I can't remember. Some of you have probably let me know as well. But I'm looking at Chelsea versus Chesterfield today, and I'm looking back, and I'm remembering Mourinho when they lost at home to Bradford City in recent times. I think it was the last few years, and got absolutely hammered. And Mourinho's face when his side's losing, never mind to a lower division team. I mean, it really sunk in. That was the first, I think, last time I saw, a manager being affected by a smaller team coming to Stamford Bridge and winning amongst other grounds as well. But in those early days, I point to Wimbledon, even much unfancied, the Crazy Gang, when they got all the way to the final, albeit They were in Division 1, I think, then. And Vinnie Jones and John Fashanu, Dennis Wise and all the other, what's his name again, the left back, they were all there, and they used to play a very dirty game, hard, get the tackles in. Do you remember the first tackle that Vinnie Jones went in on someone that day with the first kick of the ball, so they were going to try and kick Liverpool off the park. And then, of course, Liverpool missed a penalty. I think it was John Aldridge, and it was saved by, I forgot the goalie, Don. What was his name? You lot tell me later. But yep, Wimbledon went on to win that day when Liverpool were flying high as well. I think a cross came in, and was it Dennis Wise or was it someone else had a flick header and it went in, and that was probably one of the last unfancied teams to win an FA Cup final. I can't remember, unless you lot, I haven't been looking through the books to see of the Millennium side of things where an unfancied team from away from the Premiership Division 1 and 2 have got to the final and win. And one, obviously, one of the most hurtful ones for me as a Leeds fan was when Ian Porterfield scored for Sunderland. The much fancied Leeds United, who were winning everything hands down, lost, and Lorimer had a shot and it hit the bar, and Montgomery pushed it, because sometimes you need the luck on those big days if you're a small team, and you need a lot of things, I believe, to go wrong for the big teams, whether they took it easy, whether they underestimated, or whether it was just sod's law that you don't get the rub of the green and you hit the post 5 or 6 times, and what were certain goals missed. You need that kind of stuff. Really, I think John Aldridge, he missed a penalty in that, but when Leeds with Wimbledon as well, not so much, remember when Colchester beat Leeds in the 70s, when I absolutely was a little boy and I cried my eyes out when Crawford got a hat-trick. I spoke about this the other day, and Leeds nearly crept back into it. But Dickie Guy was a Wimbledon goalkeeper, and I think he saved a penalty at Ellen Road against my beloved Peter Lorimer. I know, and they got a draw there or something, but in the replay, I think Trevor Cherry got the winner at Wimbledon, so we didn't actually get to lose that day. But then I was looking back in recent times with my team, and Sherborne springs to mind, and probably a couple of others we've lost along the way. But you remember Coventry City winning the FA Cup when they beat Tottenham, and they beat us in the semi-finals of the FA Cup that year. I think it was in the 80s. I think I was in Wandsworth at the time, and we lost 3-2 to Coventry before they got to the final. And I think Andy Ritchie was there at Leeds, and Mickey Adams was playing as well. But we got done because they had Houchin, they had a couple of wingers, Roger Bennett, I think, or Dave Bennett, one of those. They had a couple of decent players that could win matches on their own. And then they went and beat Tottenham in the final as well. Or did they? I can't remember, but I think they did. I know Houchin scored a goal, but I can't remember if Tottenham actually came back in that final and won. I need to look through the books before I make these kind of things. But I'm remembering some real deep shocks, and one of them today, I think it is today, Forest got Arsenal, just to let you know. Man City won at Swindon last night. But I was thinking, is it devaluing it, putting second string teams out when it's anyone outside like the first and second division, look at those big games as the highlights of their careers, to be participating in such great well-known sides, only to be met up with second rate teams. That's normally probably enough to go, but because of the fixtures that come and go these days with loads of matches taking place, I think that teams, I suppose, have to. But devaluing the FA Cup, I don't think is one of them. I think it should always be remembered for what it was. I remember the early days, I think in history with Bolton, and I think it was Blackpool way back in the day, where a white horse came onto the pitch. I think one of them was the Stanley Matthews final. It might have been Blackpool, but you lot will quote me on that. I'm sure you know what I mean. But then I'm looking at, where else? Nottingham Forest, Arsenal. So Nottingham Forest with Brian Clough. I know Bubsy's going to get the ump over this, or he'll remember. Could be talking about football a lot with him. I remember the one chance. Yes. Coming. I'm still filming, so everything's all right. He came in and Forest, when Brian Clough, who won every single tournament there ever was. He got the League Cup, he got the Champions League, he got the old Division 1. And the one thing that he needed or wanted in his life to go in his trophy cabinet with Nottingham Forest was the cup final with Tottenham, where they lost 2-1. I'm not sure if Viv Anderson scored an own goal that day, but I know that Forest either took the lead or they tried to come back. I can't remember. Some of you came back, but I know that sadly that day, I think Gascoigne was playing as well, and they got beat by Tottenham 2-1. So Forest never ever got to win the FA Cup. Of course, Leeds' only ever victory in the FA Cup was 1972 when Alan Clark scored against Arsenal. And Newcastle, when was the last time that they won the FA Cup? I think springs to mind that they went to Wembley when Man United won the treble in 1999, and they played Newcastle in the final and got drubbed 2-0 or 3-0. I know Teddy Sheringham scored. I think they played their second string forward line before the European Cup with Bayern Munich, which would have been Cole and York and Sheringham and Solskjaer. But Man United winning the treble that year, especially with a cup final near, very difficult to do the treble with all those games. So these days, with the quality of players and the quality of players that are on offer, you can afford to take the odd little risk, I suppose. Liverpool, when they had the chance to win the treble, because I don't think Liverpool have actually won a proper treble. I know they won the Champions League and the European Cup. I know that they won a League Cup. I know that they won Division 1, but I don't think Liverpool ever got to win the FA Cup the same year they won the Champions League or European Cup and the League Division 1, if you get what I mean. So as great as Liverpool was, that shows you how hard it was. But looking through, I'll never forget Mourinho's face, by the way. He's another one who's had to suffer a lot of defeats to lower teams along his journey. Sorry about that. I don't want to babble too much, but again, Arsenal are obviously one of the teams that, you know, they've got good prestige and, if that's the right word, or cup pedigree, where they're up there amongst the very best with how many cup finals they have won. So, yep, Arsenal, but again, Arsenal, the Invincibles, even that year, the Division 1, and the European Cup as well. For all those years that Arsenal have played, you know, some of the greatest football around when they've been on their top form. I think as far as they ever got was the Barcelona Champions League, where Samuel Eto'o scored. In fact, I think Arsenal took the lead with 10 men. I think Sol Campbell scored, might be wrong. Quote me on that as well. Mansfield, Middlesbrough, I can't remember. Middlesbrough have been to a final, actually, where Janino scored a couple of classics and it went, oh no, they actually did win because, Chesterfield was in the semi-final, I think, where it was 3-3 and ended up 4-3, or did it go to a replay? Or was that the last unfancied side that got to a final? But Middlesbrough, I think, did they win that cup? Go on to win it? No, I don't think they did. They met somebody in the final. I'll get back to you on that. Some of you will help me out on that as well. But Cardiff and Preston as well. We know Preston North End have a great history early on with Tom Finney and whatnot in those early days, but sadly never managed to reach back to the Premiership ever again in life. They came close a couple of seasons ago when they had a good couple of runs in Division 1. But obviously they won the cup, I think. But Cardiff caused many upsets along the way. And I will never forget them beating Leeds that year. Well, that was the season we got relegated. I think Alan Smith might have put us in front when I used to be nervous listening to the radio in there. And you know, 2 goals near the end, and you can just feel it when it's coming, don't you? You know, when you get the pit in your stomach that you don't want to lose today. And I think at that time, Leeds were at the top of the Premiership, and that brought the whole season down. And that's when we got relegated. Quote me, some of Ash and Jamie and some of my jammers and some of my Leeds fans, if you remember that. Don't think Norwich ever reached the cup final as well. Kidderminster, Leicester, did they win a cup final? I'm trying to remember, I can't remember off the top of my head. Crystal Palace, can't remember them winning a cup final. They are at Millwall today. Now, I just had a thought. Palace reached the cup final, didn't they? With Manchester United and pushed them all away. I think Ian Wright, my old mate Ian Wright, came through and scored 2 late goals coming off the bench, I think, to get a 3-3 draw. And then in a replay, they lost, they got drubbed 4-0. But can we remember Brighton Hove Albion versus Manchester United? I think, and the biggest miss in history in the FA Cup, sadly, would have to go to Gordon Smith. I think in extra time where it was 2-2 and all he had to do was put it in, because I found in a lot of FA Cup upsets and shocks when the lower end team is having a great day and the big teams are somehow underperforming, it's on those days that where you need to take those opportunities, or you need the rubber to green for those moments what Gordon Smith had to go in, because again, when the replay came, they regrouped Man United and slaughtered them, of course. Stoke City, can't remember Stoke winning an FA Cup final. Maybe, I think Big Ben, you'll tell me that probably there was one, I think maybe in the early days, but I can't remember that. Luton in the early days with Ricky Hill, David Moss, Mark Steen, who I used to play with in the forward line when I was younger as well. Sorry about the noise. Someone's packing suitcases or something. As well as that, Luton, yeah, they had some great moments there. I think they got to League Cup finals with Arsenal a couple of times. They might have even beaten Arsenal in a League Cup final, if I remember rightly. Quote me on that as well. Let's see how good Uncle Yammy's memory is without that game's Luton play Accrington Stanley, I think, or Haringey tomorrow or something like that. My spelling's not that good. Shrewsbury were renowned for cup shots down there in Gay Meadow. I remember they used to have the ball used to come in from corners, yeah, and I remember they had a run where they caused a few surprises, but obviously they didn't win a cup final. But I know always very difficult grounds to go on as well. I can remember, really apologise for that, sorry. As well as that, Leicester, Middlesbrough, Barnsley, no, don't remember no cup finals for Barnsley. Boreham Wood, AFC Wimbledon changed their names down. But what a thing, could that ever happen again? A team travelling from 4 divisions all the way up with that to reach, you know, the heights of that. Could that actually happen? We know what Leicester did. Leeds came back, didn't they, from the bottom pits after being relegated. We were down there for quite some time, and then eventually we got up there and got back to kind of winning ways when I think it was was it O'Leary that brought us back? Can't remember. I'll tell you a lot later because my mind's doing overtime today with this FA Cup stuff. Looking forward to where was it? Swansea? No, Southampton. The famous one in 1976 when Southampton, Man United were much favourites and scored with 76 minutes. I think his name was Bobby Stokes, and it went in the bottom corner late on and Man United just couldn't recover. And then we had Arsenal, another London derby, Arsenal West Ham, where that young player Paul Allen, because they had a few brothers, Clive, another one I think Clive Allen was a great goal scorer, and I think hold on, don't quote me. Oh, Yammy, come on, don't stall. No. Yeah, he was running straight through. These days he would have been sent off. I don't know whether Willie Young got sent off that day, but Paul Allen was running through and really scored. But I can't remember, did West Ham beat Arsenal that day? Brookin! Of course, Trevor Brookin scored the only goal and Paul Allen was running through to seal it and got pulled down right at the death. Oh, that's right. I remember now. And then the greatest FA Cup final that I ever saw, I believe, for pure excitement, and it would have been Arsenal Manchester United, where Arsenal went into a 2-goal lead early on. You lot remember this. And look, dead and buried, Man United, and then out the blue, I think Greenoff scored or Macari scored, but then McElroy scored near the end to bring it to 2-2, and then right from kickoff, Liam Brady down the wing, straight across, and Alan Sunderland scored with a couple of minutes left. So the FA Cup used to have so much enjoyment. You know that as well. You lot our age, the FA Cup was almost like we used to look forward to it. I'm not saying in later life that I'm looking forward to the FA Cup, because I'm saying again, it's been devalued, I think, with money and stuff and players to rotate, because there's more bigger competitions to be looking forward to keep the players fresh. But it does take the dairy off, or for the non-leaguers and the smaller division teams, because, you know, they'll always be, yeah, but it wasn't our top team, it was our second-rate team. But no matter what, when you get done, you get done. These days, a second-rate team, if you're paying millions, a few millions less than the first team, you can get it done. I'm sure Liverpool got done in recent times somewhere. You lot will do best. I think QPR had a FA Cup final. I think they lost to Tottenham in the final. So I don't think QPR have ever won a cup final. But I can also remember Les Ferdinand scoring. But I think Tottenham beat them. So I might have that wrong as well. I know Uncle Yammy's coming up with all these things today. I don't even know if they're quite right. But I know I'm pretty close, if you get what I mean. But Newcastle, sadly, when was your last FA Cup win? Sorry, Steve Rafe, to upset you, boy. But it wasn't, I don't think it was in my lifetime that I can remember. You pushed it close a couple of times. Poor old Alan Shearer. Always loved Alan Shearer, I did. Proper archetype number 9 who was good in the air, good in the feet, good at holding the ball back, give 100% for his team, but didn't win anything. But yet, he won the Premiership or the League Division 1 or with Blackburn, when him and Sutton were partnerships at one stage like that. I'm trying to think of others, because you know my writing's absolutely terrible. Ipswich. So Ipswich have won an FA Cup final. I know many memories. Arsenal just didn't turn up that day. I think Arsenal were involved in about 4 cup finals in the space of 6 years or something. And I think his name was Roger Osborne. I remember David Coleman saying it after 86 minutes, and it was no more than they deserved. But obviously one of my biggest heartaches, looking back, because I was only a small boy, I know that we got done by Chelsea after a replay, which I believe there was, you know, you can get away with much more these days, these days on a football pitch than you did. No, sorry, the other way round, because Ron Harris, they said bite your legs, Norman. As soon as you get the ball, he used to kick you up in the air. Not bite your legs, Norman was like that as well, and you get a little yellow card and things. And you remember Billy Bremner, all the wee men that were tough men. But these days, a yellow card for anything, and then you're out the game for, you know, play acting, or even like those fouls that others cost people really cost people a lot of money and a lot of points with the strict rules and that kind of stuff. Because remember, in those days in the cup finals, when you're winning 1-0, you keep passing back and forth to the goalkeeper. You can't do that no more. You'd have to play out. But like I said that day, with Crystal Palace, when Ian Wright came off the bench, they got hammered in. But is it always the case that you're better off, you wish that you would have taken your chances? But somebody much unfancy team, Derby County, can we remember Derby winning an FA Cup? Because remember, I lost football contact for quite some time after the Yew Oval. Very, very another team with non-league history for beating big teams. I'm sure they beat Arsenal once. Wrexham beat Arsenal once as well, with Mickey Thomas scoring a screamer near the end. Portsmouth, Harry Redknapp. He's been to a couple in his time, isn't he, old Harry? I like Harry Redknapp. But I think you lost to, on the big day with Portsmouth. Was it Portsmouth or did they win? I can't remember. You lot tell me that. But I think Portsmouth got to a final, either lost 2-0 or won 2-0. But you lot, I'm just flashing through some games now. Bournemouth, nope, not as far as I know. Never won anything. Where else? Man City. Chelsea went years and years without winning anything. I think when Abramovich came, there was some, Drogba with Chelsea beat him in a final. I'm thinking of great comebacks in FA Cup finals as well. The Manchester United won Arsenal, where they nearly came back from 2 goals down. Very difficult to do, but can happen as well. Anywhere else? Come on, lads, help me out. Bristol City, not as far as I know. Bristol Rovers, I remember they had a player, I think Bristol Rovers, way back in the day, called Lee Randall. I've got a mate called Lee Randall, and he carried them along the way to a semi-final or a quarter-final. No, that semi-final with Middlesbrough and Chesterfield, it was in the semi-final, but in the final, I think Middlesbrough got done by Manchester United or Liverpool. Someone really, really, higher up beat them on that day, unless I've got it wrong again. Right, so we're just having an Uncle Yammy going back over things I can't really remember. West Ham, of course. Many close ones. I think you won it twice. So some of you have got. What about Aston Villa? When did Aston Villa, with such great history, when did they? It feels like you have to wait a lifetime for your time to come around, and then you get to 2 or 3 finals late in life. But think about all the big teams that never actually got to win an FA Cup final. So there we have it, and we've got West Ham tomorrow. Not Upton Park. What's the new ground called? I used to love going to Upton Park, jam-packed. Come on, you Irons. Yeah, come on, Leeds. We'll bring a few down. There's 9,000 Leeds fans travelling down there tomorrow. So I'm hearing. I wish I could go. No, Forest Arsenal, my money is on. No, I won't say it because you know that I'm going to be thing. But anyway, any more, let me know, because I think it's lost that feeling. I do, the FA Cup. It's not the same. Wigan, they actually won the FA Cup and they beat Manchester City from a corner. I remember they had the whole game. They left Man City in all sorts of trouble and they waited to the last minute. A geezer with red hair jumped in and scored. I think I've got that one right. I think he scored right near the end. Hull City, been to can't remember. I probably talked about that already. But Everton, they're losing the Merseyside derby. What a final. But again, I've just remembered the greatest final, apart from Man United and Arsenal, in recent times after that, rather than millennium, was what? Liverpool versus West Ham. West Ham were 3-1 up. And that man, Steven Gerrard, probably one of the greatest midfielders I ever saw. Frank Lampard being the other. How they could never play in the centre of England and produce the same kind of stuff is beyond me. But Steven Gerrard used to win games on his own, just like Frank did. But that final with West Ham being 3-1 down, Gerrard, that last second to produce that with a minute left, a thunderbolt of the highest order, highest quality, to end up in the corner that he did, is one of the memories that really stick out. So I think we talked enough about football. I'm coming up today. I've got good news for you. Coming this weekend, we've got the great Ray, Mark Lennon from South London, who's going to talk a bit about his life. He's moved on a bit from the big sentences, the shootouts, the bombs and everything that have been involved in his criminal career, who is now on the straight and narrow, will be coming onto Uncle Yammy, either today or tomorrow. Staying quite close to him at the moment so I can get it done with all the travelling. And also a man that I've spoke about for months and months and months. You all kept asking me who he was. Motto, who Porky was. Was it this Porky? Was it that Porky? We're about to reveal all. He's on his way to Uncle Yammy. See you all in a little bit. Wishing you all a pleasant day. Love you loads.